Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Criminal Behavior Group. We would like to we would like to presentations about criminal behavior. For the first time, I would like to introduce the members of the group. I'm as the narrator, Muhammad Edar Syafiq, and my friends who helped me for creating this presentation, for preparing this presentation, are Deritya Yuliana Sari and Nadia Alaidi. Okay, let's continue to the point. There is a question that has been blowing psychologists' minds since many centuries before. It's like, why does people do crime? Why does thief do crime? Why does murder kill someone? Why does robber rob something or someone? And after that, the criminology as a science that focuses on criminality, realist, and becoming a subject of studies. Okay, many arguments have spoken for explaining the causes of criminal behavior, such as the ones who argue that the genetic is the main seed porter, and another argue that criminal behavior comes from the social factor. So this presentation will talk about the criminal behavior, and as we know, criminal behavior is very related with the psychological theory. Why? Because the psychological theory or this topic will focus on how people do crime. Basically, there are three theories who talks about criminal behavior based on the psychological theory. The first is elements of personality or personal factor. The second is cognition or indicator, and the third is social factor or environment factor. The first is element of personality. Okay, talking about the element of personality or personal factor, in this theory, it researches on how to find a causes of criminal behavior based on the psychological theories. Although every person have their own mind or have their own thinking, we are sure that every criminal possesses or has a similar personal characteristic. So basically, there are three causes of criminal behavior. The first comes from law of intelligence. The second comes from impulsivity, and the last is locus of control. Okay, why do we put in low intelligence as one of the causes of criminality? The reason, there are three reasons to answer it. The first, low intelligence makes people could not understand social life or social acceptable because they have a low IQ or intelligence Q. The second reason, they may readily admit committing crime. And the last reason, they could be caught to act criminality. Okay, the second cause is impulsivity. Impulsivity is spontaneous actions and reckless actions, or acting without thinking more. Impulsivity is also the result of poor ego control. And the last causes is locus of control. Basically, locus is particular positions or specific positions or places where something occurs when crimes occur or happen. There are two different conditions of locus control. The first is internal conditions, and the second is external condition. Generally, the internal conditions is conditions that agreed or that released by someone, by the criminal itself. So we talk about internal condition, we talk about the criminal will, their will. And the second, external occurrence as resulting from forces beyond their influence. So actually external is a social forces or environment forces that very influenced them or very influenced the criminal to do crime. Okay, next theory is precursors of criminal behavior. Precursors of criminal behavior is an indicator of theory. Basically, there are two precursors. The first is psychodynamic precursors, and the second is behavior precursors. And both of precursors is or comes from the theory of psychology. Okay, now let me explain it to you one by one. The first is psychodynamic theory. Psychodynamic came from a past scientist named Freud. He said that the psychodynamic influence by an unconscious and unconscious mind, but it still be used for identifying the criminal behavior. So there are three elements of mind. The first is instinct, who drives behavior, the ego, who controls the reality, and the superego of internalizations of the standard society. And the second is behavior theories or behavior precursors. Behavior precursors or behavior theories came from the work of Ivan Pavlov on 1849 until 1936. At the time, he experienced a new habitual or behavior response by the object dog, and it succeeded, of course. This theory is very related with human, so now this theory has been spreading out around the world, and also there are a few of them developed. So we resume some of development from the behavior theories. The first comes from the Chicago School and Criminology. They said that the crime as a result of social forces, and Skinner, he said that crime as a result of behavior consequence. Another development, crime as a result as the result of the media aggressions. And the last, crime as the result of cognitive errors or thinking errors. So basically, if you talk about crime is are result of social forces, result of behavior consequence, result of the media aggressions, and the result of cognitive errors or thinking errors. And the last theory is social factor. Social factor as the explanation of criminal behavior. It has a design studies which enable to find out which social factor are common in the background of criminals. There are two design studies. The first is cross-sectional design, and the second is longitudinal design. Cross-sectional design is a design of identifying the background of criminality by comparing two different groups or person in a particular time, in a specific time. And the second longitudinal design is a design of identifications, the background of criminality, by individual observations and individual development with an over time research and with the same person. Okay, talking about types of longitudinal, there are two types of longitudinal. The first is retrospective and the second is prospective. Retrospective is identifications, a group of people wish to study and analyze the existing information on that group, and also retrospective will be focused on their past, on the information about their past. Okay, the prospective is identification or identifying a group of people with regularly over time and test on a various criteria. Okay, talking about the various criteria from the perspective, there are 6 varieties of perspective. The first is family characteristic. The second is child abuse. The third is parental criminality. The second, peer influence. The fifth, unemployment. And the sixth, school characteristic. So basically, the family character will make or will impact to someone, especially for doing criminality. And the second, of course, child abuse. The kid or the children who have ever get a child abuse from someone may be doing a crime in their future. Third, parental criminality. Of course, when the kid sees the parent doing criminality, of course they will try to imitate. They imitate it. They know it, and someday they act it. Okay, another is peer influence, or the condition or the factor that comes from friends or comes from their environment. The fifth is unemployment. Of course, the jobless will be difficult to survive in this life. So unemployment or jobless persons has a small chance or small possibilities to do crime. And the last is school characteristic. The type of the school, the system of the school, the children or the student in that school that happen or that exist at the time. Okay, thank you so much for your nice listening. We do apologize if you find some mistakes in this presentation. And the last, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.